HellDivers 2 is such an interesting game. It came out late. No, it came out early 2024. It lost 90% of its players. People were clamoring like, "Yo, what's going on? Where's DLC?" And through it all, Arrowhead were making so much money. It's crazy. They were like, "Yo, we know like the moment this shit kicks off, we know that we're gonna go into bad times. As soon as that happens, we don't need to worry." And you know what? They were right. They were right from the very beginning. They were smart. They knew from the very beginning what shit they had to worry. They didn't need to worry. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. It's so sick. In the year of brutal layoffs and closures, HellDivers 2 gave his studio the financial stability to keep going and keep making the games that they want. We really kept the Arrowhead way. HellDivers 2 flooded the internet with memes, turned millions of us into democracy spreading fascists, and gave developer Arrowhead Game Studios the financial stability to keep making games that we want. That's what games director Michael Erickson said about a co-op phenomenon. Huge success, which the team didn't think was even possible pre-launch. In an interview with Games Radar Plus, ahead of a hefty Omnins of Tyranny update, is giving us a financial stability to keep going for many years, which is really big privilege, and we are all very happy about that, Erickson explains. But it doesn't feel that different in the studio. Despite presumably having way more money to work with and keep people employed with, Erickson said the developer's attitude hasn't really changed all that much because everyone's focused on the same thing they've always been focused on, except for the financial stability, which we're super happy about. And it doesn't feel that different, he continues. We're just going to keep making the game that we want and think what is most fun. Producer director Alex Bowl agrees that it's definitely putting us on a more stable horizon, especially in these times. Probably referring to the brutality, volatile year in the industry where a record number of developers have suffered from layoffs just from one flop. Like fellow PlayStation shooter Concord can kill an entire studio. It feels good, he goes on. It feels good to see that we can look ahead in a long time and keep the devs happy as well. That part is so valuable. To think, yeah, we're gonna be able to keep doing what we want, making games. That's precious. I think as a studio is weird, it didn't change much. We kept the same culture. If I want to go back a year, I would still feel the same with the people I'm working with. We really kept that Arrowhead way. And you know what? They're smart. They're taking their money, putting it back into their company. Sure, this game sucks with its updates, and this update's way too late, right? It's a good update. It's a really good update, but it's way too late when we compare it to other games in this same like live service genre. I mean, as a genre, this is very unique. But Arrowhead is smart. Let's keep all our money. Make sure we don't overbuy. Don't overspend. We have a grounded mindset. They make sense. Why change who you are because you just made a lot of money? It's like, well, a couple of months ago, they literally said, yo, we're not going to be hiring any more people just because the game is doing so well. Remember back in COVID when devs were just hiring, not devs, but companies were hiring so many devs. It was crazy. Every single day, like you would have studio news of like, oh, Activision hired like 100,000 people. Oh, Microsoft now hired about 200,000 people. Oh, EA, so on, so and so. And only in Japan was that like not as huge. I mean, it was still big. I mean, even companies like Capcom still made like a lot of like dev hires, but besides that, it wasn't as bad as in Japan. But like CEO back then, Arrowhead, Jonathan Pelestrid, said the studio won't be making any knee-jerk decisions in response to the title's meteoric launch success. The title has sold around 1 million copies on PC and PlayStation 5 since landing earlier this month, and recently passed 450,000 concurrent players on Steam. And it only went more, right? Only went higher by the time this came out. But I mean, eventually we learned that 90% of players left because there was no significant update and all the changes were being less. Forget that. When we look at it now, when we look at this, like a comprehensive tech list of 2024 tech layoffs, bro, Bro, it is insane. Look at this shit. Let's see if I recognize anything here. But there's so much. There's so many companies. LinkedIn, 202 employees, accounting for roughly 1% of its whole workplace. The cuts impacted engineering, customer support roles. Spokesperson Greg Snapper compared to the information. Eliminated 202 employees. Not the worst. It can be even worse than that. But why overhire, right? Like I mean, AMD 4% of his workforce. Bro, we need to go to Intel. Where is Intel? Intel made a huge reduction. Just Eat 300 employees. Mozilla 30%. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. It does not stop. TikTok 100 of employees, mainly Malaysia. The company said fewer than 500 people were affected. That's still not good. But like, we go to game companies, we can Risa, whatever. It's so many. There's so many. Bungie 220 employees, representing around 70% of the game studio total. Workforce, Pete Parsons said. Pete Parsons needs to be pissed off. This guy sucks ass. Oh my god, Iris. I guess that's it, because I mainly just said what I needed to say. They're smart. They knew what they were doing.